Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen. This is the longest objectives that I've ever had to read. The purpose of this project is to reflect on your growth during the completion of an entire path. That's it. That's it. So in one sentence, we're trying to say that Sibongiseni has to say this entire path that he has been on. And I'm going to try and evaluate that. So I'll do my best, Madam Toastmaster.
That was a very long objective. Thank you, Cornell. I would like to call upon Sibongiseni Mgolozeli, speaking to the title, Begin with Why, Bearing the End in Mind. Begin with why, bearing the end in mind, Mr. Sibongiseni Mgolozeli.
There are 6 questions that you have to ask yourself if you want to achieve anything in life. And I mean anything. 5 of these questions starts with the letter W, and the 6th one starts with letter H. And they are why, who, what, when, and when. And the 6th one is how. Out of these 6 questions, the first and most important of all is why. And that is why it's always important to begin with why, bearing in mind the end. Madam Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, back in 2014, I was a master's student at the University of Pretoria. And one of my friends noticed that I was struggling speaking English. So he borrowed me a book with an intention to help me improve my English grammar and vocabulary. The title of that book was called Milk in My Coffee by Eric Jerome Dickey. Little did he know that this book was going to hook me into the habit of reading forever. Well, I grew up in the rural outskirts of the Eastern Cape. And prior to that point in my life, 2014, I'd never owned or even read a book in English outside academic space. I was shy, reserved, and terrified of public speaking. An introvert that was terrified of public speaking. Well, I was hesitant at first to take this book from my friend, but I did eventually. It took me some time to read and finish this book, but it triggered something in me that wanted to read even more books. The following year, which was 2015 now, I read about 16 books in total, which I borrowed from the university library. Oh boy, those books opened a new world for me, and they helped me to enjoy and appreciate life even more. My confidence in speaking English started to improve significantly. And gradually, I transformed from an introvert into an ambivert. An ambivert is someone who exhibits qualities of both an introvert and an extrovert. But I still had a fear of public speaking. It was through one of Brian Tracy's books that I learned for the first time about Toastmasters International and how it helps people to overcome their fear of public speaking. For me, it was later on the 1st of August, 2018, when I officially joined this great organization with an intention to overcome my fear of public speaking. And little did I know that I would get more than what I had bargained for. I chose a path called Effective Pathway for the same reason, to overcome my fear of public speaking and also to coach and teach others who suffer from the same fear like me, after I've overcome mine, to also overcome theirs. I must say, today, exactly today, it's been about 3 years and 3 months ever since I joined. But still, I am suffering from that fear. But I learned, ladies and gentlemen, from the experts that you will never overcome the fear of public speaking, but you can manage it. It takes persistent practice, patience, and experience. And fortunately for me, the habits of reading book helped me to manage my fear of public speaking better. And it also made me, actually the whole Toastmasters experience more pleasant and fulfilling. So the question now is, apart from the reason why I joined Toastmasters, what did I learn and what did I achieve through Toastmasters International? Through Toastmasters International and reading books, I learned how to speak and write better. Through Toastmasters and reading books, I learned how to network and negotiate. Through Toastmasters and reading books, I learned how to motivate, inspire, and lead. One of the projects I had to do when I reflect on my path now, it required me to write, actually to start a blog if I didn't have any, and publish about 8 articles within a space of 8 months on any topic of my choice. I already had a blog, fortunately, but I was only used to publish only 2 articles a month on average. Sometimes 1, sometimes none, 0 in a month, but I accepted the challenge. So I chose financial literacy in the month of January this year for obvious reasons. Well, most people become broke in January. Well, legends like me, we don't say we are broke, we say we are pre-rich or pre-wealthy. So ladies and gentlemen, I began 3 months prior to this project in November, like at the beginning of November. That's when I started reading about 8 books on financial literacy so that I can complete this project. And indeed, I fulfilled all the requirements. And to be honest, after completing that project, I wanted to call it quits. I was fed up with this thing of blogging because that project stretched me way beyond my limits and far out of my comfort zone. But I'm grateful for the experience because right now, I've just finished writing my first book on public speaking. And if it wasn't for Toastmasters, I wouldn't have written a book in the first place. Another project that I had to do required me to prepare and present a keynote speech for about 20 to 22 minutes. And the requirement was that there must be a call to action. Indeed, I prepared and delivered that talk, and it was titled The Power of Reading. And through it, I managed to start a book club called Visionary Readers Book Club. And this was May this year. And prior to that, actually a couple of months, another project that I had to do related to that, I had to start a podcast, also a project of Toastmasters. And also, as part of the requirements of that project, I had to come and present a segment of that podcast, and also the other half of that speech must be presented like I'm doing now. And indeed, I completed that project and even came to play a segment of my podcast on YouTube. So my podcast is called Read to Inspire Podcast. It's a YouTube channel. And if it wasn't for Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, my podcast and my book club would not exist. But there's still more projects that I did. I mean, it's been a long journey that I did, but I'll just highlight only a few that were my favorite, or they were actually my highlights. I must say though, another thing that I learned through this whole path, it was learning how to negotiate, as I said, and also how to reach a consensus, which was one of my projects. So imagine you have to assemble a team of about 5 people, a Toastmasters, pick a topic, and then bring them on and convince them, okay, this is the topic, and I want us to actually persuade them to come to your overall decision that you have made, even before you come to present the title. And I did. And funny enough, because I'm someone who's passionate about public speaking, I chose the topic called the rhetoric. And through that topic, for me, I went beyond the requirements. I assembled Toastmasters, I reached consensus regarding the fact that I wanted rhetoric, which is presentation literacy, to begin as early as grade 7 and to be made compulsory from grade 7 in school all the way to university, because I know the importance of public speaking and someone to have the confidence to speak in public, like I've learned over the years, even though I'm still terrified. But the most important thing is to learn how to manage it better. But out of all those challenges, out of those accomplishments, all those things that I've accomplished through Toastmasters, I had some challenges and obstacles that I had to overcome in order for me to fulfill those goals. For instance, last year, just after winning the speech contest in my club, I wanted to quit. The reason was that I was lagging behind with my PhD studies. I was stressing out because I was on my final year. I was really, really stressed out. And COVID-19 added a cherry on top of my stress levels. And you know, when you have a goal in mind, there will always be challenges. And if you know how to prioritize, you'll also know how to make sacrifices. And for me, like I said, that I am not quit Toastmasters. I wanted to be one of those sacrifices that I had to make, but I'm glad I didn't. And one of the sacrifices which I had to do, which I'm not proud of even today, was to break up with my girlfriend just for the sake of focusing more on my studies. Terrible mistake. Well, then you must ask yourself, Sibo, if you can break up with your girlfriend, why didn't you call it quits at Toastmasters? Well, the answer is simple. I did not stay at Toastmasters because I was the club champion at that time, but I stayed because I remembered why I joined this great organization in the first place. And through it all, I still know even to this point that there are still more challenges that are still going to come my way. But I will never quit, because the reason why I joined now is even much better and much stronger than before. It's no longer about overcoming my fear of public speaking, but I want to be an international speaker and a great leader. That is why it's always important to begin with the end, bearing in mind, begin with why, bearing in mind the end. It doesn't matter how long it takes to reach the end. What's important is why you started and also knowing exactly where you are going. It usually takes a year on average, and I have to finish a part on Pathway or Toastmasters. But for me, it took about 3.5 years, if you remember, to finish mine. This is my last speech. 3.5 years for a path that takes on average 1 year. But I'm glad I didn't quit, because I'm happy now that I finally finished. And thank God I also finished my PhD and also graduated about a month ago. So if your vision is clear and your purpose is strong, you will never quit when faced with challenges and difficulties. If you are tired, rest, but never quit. Your vision and your why will motivate you to get back up and continue with your journey. You have to be patient, as I said earlier, but according to Malcolm Gladwell, your patience must be motivated by numbers, especially if you want to be an expert in everything. It takes about 10,000 hours, or roughly 10 years, to be an expert in anything. For me, in my Toastmasters journey, I still have a long way to go, specifically about my dream to become an international speaker and a great leader. So according to Michael Gladwell, As I said, it takes 10,000 hours or 10 years. But I feel like I am an international speaker already because in February 2020, just about a year ago, I had the privilege of traveling to Japan and to deliver a speech in one of the Toastmasters clubs I visited in Tokyo. And that night, I was voted both the best speaker and the best speaker for prepared speeches and table topics. That's why I feel like I'm an international speaker already. And just to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, as far as my writing career is concerned, I feel like I'm in the right place because the fact that I'll have my first book published or launched on my birthday next year, which is the 2nd of April, it shows that I'm on the right path. The fact that today is my last speech of effective coaching in terms of, as far as my coaching career is concerned, I think I'm on the right path. As I said, this is my last speech. And after the speech, I'll be certified by Toastmasters International as an effective coach for public speaking. And last but not least, as far as leadership is concerned, I feel like I'm on the right path because I'm standing in front of you as the president of one of the oldest and greatest clubs in Pretoria. And who knows, maybe after 10 years, I might be fit enough to become the president of this country. Thank you.
Sita, thank you. Wow. I think, do you see what I mean when I said I'm excited for tonight, right? Earlier, I said I'm excited. It's one speaker, but I'm excited. So, Sibo, well done. That was beautiful. And I think it was a fit closing to this moment and to you receiving your pathways level 5. You did not prattle. That's a new word we learned. You did this thing very well and you passed your pathways with aplomb. Join the Visionary Book Club so you know all these great words. But well done, Sibo, and congratulations once again from my side. I'm not going to go into evaluating your speech. I will leave that to our evaluator, Cornell. Cornell, if you can please come evaluate Sibo's speech.
Madam Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone online, I don't know if you can hear the noise behind us. And I think those people are just celebrating with Sibongiseni tonight for achieving level 5. Begin with why, bearing the end in mind. So I actually just want to say, why do I need to evaluate a speech like that if we've heard and seen everything that we've seen tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, I will not be evaluating the speech from a point of view where we can give some feedback regarding where do you need to stand, what do you need to do, because we want to enjoy the moment with you, Sibongiseni. It is a very special occasion for me as I was present at Pretoria 2000 once Sibongiseni started, and we've walked a path, a little path, and when he outranked me and outlived me, that's when he went his own path. But for me, it's a real privilege this evening just to stand here in the front and to say, wow, how far you have come, how far you've come with this journey that you've been on. Ladies and gentlemen, we heard that it wasn't just all plain sailing. We heard about the challenges. We heard about the sacrifices. And I think we could relate to it. Sitting there, we could think, how many times did we want to quit Toastmasters? And we didn't. And we're back here. And how much does it mean for us sitting at home or sitting in the business, sitting in the office to have Toastmasters? How much does it mean to have this network of people online as well that we can fall back on, we can bounce ideas, or we can ask, can you review my book? Can you do something for me? We have that relationship that we have in Toastmasters. I usually, when I do an evaluation, I go, what do I see? What do I feel? What do I hear? And what I saw this evening was an audience, certainly in the room, that was captured by whatever Sibongiseni said. That was beautiful to see. And what I noticed as well is the utmost confidence that he stood with here in the front. Even when he said, I'm still terrified. What did I hear? I heard of someone who had to endure a whole journey. And as I mentioned, a journey is called a journey for a reason. It's not just straight. You have to walk your path, and you have to go to different things. And that's why I'm so happy that Toastmasters has called the new program Pathways. Because go your path. Don't just think that it's straight on. Go walk that path. I heard someone that was very honest tonight. I could feel the emotion when you said you had to break up with your girlfriend. It couldn't have been easy. Couldn't have. And hopefully you're still friends. And hopefully your path will bring you back together, and she'll see why at that time it was maybe the right decision. I saw an ambitious, articulate, goal-oriented person. If that's one thing that really stood out for me, is the pronunciation, the words that you use, your vocabulary, and that's from all your reading. You've grown so much as a speaker. How did I feel this evening? I'm surprised one of these buttons didn't pop open, because I was so proud sitting there as your fellow member of this club to listen to you speak and to listen to you say you want to be an international speaker, because it's within your reach. I heard about the book, the keynote you delivered, 20 to 22 minutes. I remember that speech. It was brilliant, brilliant. The books you had in front. The book club you started, which is growing and growing and growing, and everyone here, I think, is on that book club. The channel. And beside all of that, ladies and gentlemen, he's still the president of Pretoria 2000. I would like to give you one big congratulations once again, Sibongiseni. Thank you for letting us enjoy this moment with you, and we can't wait to see where you continue growing. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.